And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. You're tuned in to Tapped Out. Hosted by Brendan Tobin and Sean Levine. Only on the BetQL network.
We're going to have our BMF draft. If you don't know what the letters stand for, pull your car over and Google it, because you're going to enjoy this segment. But before that, we've got a lot of other fights lined up. We got Dustin and Justin. We got Aspinall and Taboria. We got Jan Blachowicz and Alex Pereira. But before that, we've also got, hopefully, Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg. I know we've already spent too much time talking about this, but if I forced you to watch it, to pay for it, $100, then to watch it, but also to put your hard-earned money. I know you work hard for it. Who are you betting on? You have to bet. Are you taking the younger Zuck, or are you taking the older, more experienced, heavier Elon Musk?
I'm taking Zuck because, doesn't Zuckerberg take BJJ? I feel like he's got.
They both train. They both train.
Elon Musk trains what?
I'm telling you, dude, they both train mixed martial arts. Now, nobody's going to get them confused with Rampage Jackson or John Jones, but they both get in there and train. Why do you think they're going at it? Just for fun? To go in there and get beat up by another billionaire? To be embarrassed?
I think Elon Musk is doing it for attention. The guy bought Twitter for $44 billion. The guy likes attention.
Okay. All right. I'd like to see you get in there with these guys. In fact, I would actually pay for that. I like Zuck.
Yeah, me too.
Give me Zuck by knockout. Give me Zuck by sub. All right. Let's talk about real fighters. Dustin versus Justin. You want to talk about an ultimate pick'em fight? I keep going back and forth on this one, but I'm leaning toward Dustin Poirier, only because when you look at Justin Gaethje and his highlight package, it's just incredible. Whether you're talking about his knockouts, his comebacks, his style, his flips off the side of the octagon, he is probably, for my money, the most entertaining fighter right now in the entire promotion. But if you want to talk about the most underrated, at times the most disrespected, and a guy whose name isn't in our mouths probably enough, you're talking about Dustin Poirier. I mean, the only times that he's lost to the absolute best of the best. And I think that when these guys come head-to-head, Dustin Poirier is just a better fighter, and I think he beats him.
Yeah, I'm always confused why people seem to think that Justin is more entertaining than Dustin. I don't really understand that. I feel like
That's
Dustin's been almost in more entertaining, been in higher profile fights than Justin Gaethje. He's beaten Justin Gaethje. He's stopped Justin Gaethje. He's kind of, I get it. He kind of came onto the scene. I guess his fame kind of blew up a little bit later, and Justin kind of came into the promotion right away because Dustin had to come back from this embarrassing loss to Conor McGregor. And so I guess that's why. I don't understand this, but Dustin Poirier is so good in fights like this. I'm always going to go with him. The only thing that gives me a little bit of pause in this, to be honest with you, and I don't think it's going to affect either one of them because they're both just badasses, is the altitude. That's the only thing I look at is because Dustin trains in South Florida and Justin Gaethje trains in Denver. So obviously he's already used to this for a fight that's in Salt Lake City. But I don't know. Dustin's just such an animal. I don't think it's going to affect them.
What are you guys, 2 feet above sea level down there?
I don't even know if we're above anymore, dude. It seems like days after we're swimming down here. What the hell's that land under the sea, Atlantica, whatever the hell it's called?
Something like that. Yeah, no, you're 6 inches
Atlantis
at this point. Atlantis. I was like, what's he looking for here? I got you. Atlantis. Brendan Tobin, sports.
I think I was going with that terrible. I was going with that terrible water park up in Orlando, Aquatica. So
never
I
heard of it.
merged them.
Nobody comes here for your damn geography lesson anyway. We do have Brandon Moreno's belt on the line, taking on Alex Pantoja, plus 145 for the underdog. Moreno as at minus 170. I feel like there's a big divide with Brandon Moreno, where half the people are kind of like, he was cool, and he used to be fun to watch, but I'm sick of him fighting Davidson Figueiredo, and I'm kind of over him having the whole belt as a flyweight. And there's guys like me who go, Viva Mexico! I love Brandon Moreno, dude. I hope he has the belt forever.
I like him too. I mean, I think he fights weird. He does that peekaboo thing. He seems like he could just pull out finishes out of nowhere. Even in fights he's not even looking that good. He's got an opportunity here to avenge a loss from years ago. So it's but I don't know how much this kind of goes back, like how much stock do you put into a fight that was 5 years ago? Now he's kind of got that championship gravitas to him. He's now most of it has been against one guy. I give you that. Basically, honestly, against two guys. It's been basically against Figueiredo and Kai Kara France. So he's used to the rematch things, and he's definitely fared well when he's gotten a second crack at somebody. And I think that I think he probably will here too.
I'd throw it out the window if it's been any more than 3 years. Like if we got a chance to see Nate versus Connor 3, and now the last time we saw that fight, what was that? 6 years ago, 7 years ago in our rearview mirror, it's like, who really cares what happened the last time? Basically, it's two new fighters. It's kind of like when Usman and Leon stepped in the cage for the second time. A lot of people forget, oh yeah, these guys have actually fought each other, but it was like 6 or 7 years in between. So I personally don't put a whole lot into the fact that Moreno's already fought this guy before. To me, it's fresh blood. Speaking of fresh blood, my guy, friend of the show, future heavyweight champion, Tom Aspinall, returns versus Marcin Tybura. Now, Tybura, no surprise, is an underdog, plus 280. Here's the surprise. Tom Aspinall is minus 400? That's my guy, but coming off of an injury in a heavyweight fight, what are we doing here?
Yeah, that's a heavy price for him for sure. But, I was talking about like they don't really do the tune-up or the comeback fight very well. This kind of feels like that against Marcin Tybura. Like he's getting an opportunity to take on a guy who, he should handle a guy. We were all talking about Tom Aspinall a while ago. Like he should be fighting for the belt, or this guy's good enough to fight for the belt. He had an unfortunate thing that happened against Curtis Blades. Don't really look at that as a loss. So the guy was on a monster win streak before that happened. So yeah, for me, I think he should handle him. I almost get the odds here, to be honest with you.
I wonder where Aspinall fits into the heavyweight picture if he comes out there and puts the beat down on Tybura, because you mentioned, we used to talk about him maybe being the guy that could fight John Jones for the heavyweight title. That was even before John was officially back in the UFC, and then Aspinall got hurt. So it is kind of curious to see how long it takes him at least to get a number one contender fight, if not fight for the belt. All right. Alex Pereira, obviously, you know him from fighting Israel Adesanya not once, not twice, not 3, but 4 times. Now he's a light heavyweight fighter. Welcome to the division, bro. You got to take on Jan Blachowicz. I was surprised, though. Blachowicz is favored to win this fight. I know that Pereira's moving up in weight class, but it feels like, to me, more of his natural weight class. That's a big dude. Blachowicz right now, BetMGM minus 150, Pereira plus 130. Which way are you playing that?
Man, that's a good question, because Jan Blachowicz is just such a dog. As far as just like his grit, he's got such a wealth of fight knowledge. We've seen him do this with Izzy, where he just basically little boyed him and just kind of laid on him and welcomed him to 205 in a very, very rude fashion. Now I get it. People will go and they'll say Pereira, he's going up to a weight class he's probably more used to. But it is different, dude. I mean, look, John Jones, he molded himself to heavyweight. It took him a long time to make that transition. A lot of the times this is something that's a little bit slow rolled. And now all of a sudden these shots that were knocking out middleweights left and right, and that, what you do to Sean Strickland doesn't mean you could do it to Jan Blachowicz. Like it's not the same. So I get it why he's a dog. I'm a little surprised just because of his popularity. I felt like everybody was just going to be like on the train of, oh, he's a monster, this is where he belongs. So I kind of was expecting the numbers to be a little bit more in favor. We talk dogs that might bite. Maybe I go with Pereira that night.
What a crazy common denominator that both these guys beat Israel Adesanya. Nobody beats that guy, but both these guys have. So that should be a fun fight. Umar Nurmagomedov, minus 205, taking on Corey Sandhagen, plus 185. First of all, that's a really fun fight. And second of all, man, I feel like Corey Sandhagen's getting a little bit disrespected here. This looks more like a pick'em to me.
Yeah, when you actually read that to me, I was wondering, like, are we having is that a mistake from the Whitaker fight last week? Because I'm like, I that doesn't almost make sense to me. I feel like Sandhagen's resume, how good he's been, how tough Umar, I get it. Like, again, these things were the great grapplers. They usually will get a little bit of a nudge by the odds makers, but come on, dude. Corey Sandhagen, I mean, if he was in any other weight class, he'd probably be fighting for the belt every other month. He's that good.
And he can finish you in a million ways. That Nurmagomedov tax is getting a little bit out of hand for MMA, right? Like, if you're a
Very
college
tough.
football bettor, you know what I'm talking about. You got to pay the Notre Dame tax. You got to pay the Alabama tax. I went to KU, so I always have to pay for my Jayhawks and basketball and that type of thing. If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, and it's the same thing in mixed martial arts, right? If you're gonna bet John Jones, you got to pay for it. If you're gonna bet Conor McGregor, you got to pay for it. This Nurmagomedov thing they're starting to tax me a little bit too much. I mean, come on, man. You're going to tell me I got to pay minus 215 to get in on some Umar Nurmagomedov money? Just give me the plus 185 on Corey Sandhagen because, like you said, that dude's an absolute killer. All right. Last fight, at least we think, in the career of Ruthless Robbie Lawler. I think there's a chance that his name comes up in our final segment of the show. Don't go anywhere because we're going to have our all-time BMF draft. We're each going to draft the baddest MRFers in the history of the UFC. Robbie Lawler certainly on that short list, and a favorite to take out Nico Price in his last fight. Nico Price comes back at plus 215. Who you like in this one?
I got such a tough time betting against Robbie Lawler. One of my all-time favorite fighters. I think one of the most entertaining fighters of all time. Did get, he's been on hard times for sure lately. I mean, he's won, one out of his last 6, and that was against Nick Diaz, where Nick Diaz basically was like, just there to show up.
He was
took
done.
a knee. Yeah, he was just done. So it's been a hard time for Robbie to find wins. But he's gonna maybe it's Hall of Fame weekend. He's going in with the Rory McDonald fight. Maybe I put a little on him just for sentimental value. But yeah, it hasn't been a great. Even though he is a tough guy to finish. I mean, like, he's a tough guy to put away. Even you think back to like his RDA loss where he was fighting basically with a torn knee, just taking a beating. Guys as tough as they come. So I think this is going to be if he goes out in this one, it's not going to be easy.
All right, we got a couple of minutes left, and I think it's appropriate time to talk about a guy that you think could be a future champion. And we're talking about Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Now, I feel like producer Jake and I pretty much put you in your place last week when you said that, and we had to ask you what exactly was in that water bottle you were drinking. Wonderboy takes on Michel Pereira. Pereira you can get right now as a favorite as the underdog at plus 180 at BetMGM. Your boy Wonderboy is minus 210. I mean, maybe you're right. Taking on Pereira, great fighter, more than a 2-1 favorite. Maybe he still can be champion going forward. What do I know?
Who is does Leon have his next fight on this? Oh, he's fighting Colby, right? So that's like the next one. That'll be fight. What is that going to be? That's it. Have they announced a date for that? Is that an
We don't know.
We don't know, but that's going to be the next fight.
All we know is that it's going to happen. We know that Colby gets the next shot at Leon. You can argue if you think he should. I'm just waiting for them to announce a date because we know who's fighting at this point. I mean, right now we're talking about 290. We're talking about 291. Mm-hmm. Bro, we've already spent time talking about UFC 292, Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. When is that fight going to happen?
I don't know, but I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, he's obviously Bilal's going to be the backup for that. So they're not trying to think my path to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson being champion. He's going to knock out Michel with a wheel kick. All right. Then the buzz is going to be on him because nobody really wants to watch Bilal Muhammad fight. Yeah. Let's be honest about it. Bilal, kind of a boring fighter. So maybe if he does something crazy, then everybody's like, oh, I want Wonderboy to fight the winner of the champ. And then all of a sudden we're in the catbird seat.
Yeah, I don't think so. I feel like I've heard the same people try to make these crazy arguments how Conor McGregor is going to fight for a belt again one day. Or no, I don't think so. That takes a little bit too much.
I just feel like him versus Leon would be a great fight, Sean. That's an awesome fight. You wouldn't want to see that Leon Rocky versus Wonderboy?
I actually think Colby's going to beat him. I actually think Colby beats Leon. And you know how much I'm a Colby Hall. I think Colby beats him, though. And then we get Colby versus Wonderboy for the belt, huh? You like it? You like it? The nice
It's
guy
the
versus
fight.
the mean guy?
Oh man, that's the. How could you even be mean to Wonder Boy? I don't even think Colby can do it.
I bet he can. You heard what he said about Brazil, right? Did you hear what he said about the
I
Chicago
did.
pizza? If there's anybody that can talk a little smack on the nicest guy in the history of the UFC, in fact, I believe Stephen Wonderboy Thompson currently is the NMF, the nicest MRFer. Coming up next, we have our list of the all-time BMF. You're not going to want to go anywhere. This is going to be fun. You're locked into the BetQL network.